Hey guys, welcome back. It's wonderful to see your smiling faces. It's Inktober the 9th, and I'm actually pre-recording this video because I'm going to be on the road again today. It's time to go home. I am so glad that I spent this time at the family farm. It's been super nice to just unwind a little bit, relax, not watch TV, not play video games, just enjoy some time with family and enjoy some time by myself alone in the woods with or without headphones. You know, some of the time I've been listening to music while I hike around, and some of the time I've just been listening to the birds chirping and crickets and chickens and roosters and dogs and all the other noises of the nature. And it's been great. It's been great. It's been really healing and relaxing and important. Anyway, hiking back up to get ready to draw. All right, so today's prompt for day 9 is throw. Day 9. You know, there's a video game commentator who goes by the name Day 9. I really like Day 9. Whatever happened to him? I haven't watched his stuff in a long time. Used to watch him play StarCraft 2 and talk about other people playing StarCraft 2. Anyway, today's prompt is throw. And I think I just want to do something super simple. I'm just going to draw a baseball. In the interest of keeping things quick, I am actually pre-recording this video. I'm a day early because I'll be driving on the 9th, so I'm recording this a day early. And so that means I've already made a video today, and I need to speed up. I need to hustle and get this done because my kids are probably waking up in the house, and my wife is probably wondering why I'm not in there helping. So I'm going to go ahead and get this done, knock this out of the park. Ahaha, you get what I did there? Knock this out of the park. All right, so baseballs have the stitches that follow this sort of round pattern, right? And so that's the line that they follow, but they're like little rectangles, right? The stitches. Maybe I'm making them too big. Am I making them too big? I think I'm making them too big. Oh well. You know what? At this point, do I care? They're like all different sizes. I think this is, why is it so hard to draw a baseball? Why am I making it so difficult? Let's see. I'm going to try again over here. And I'm going to, instead of drawing them as rectangles, I'm just going to draw them as little ovals. And see if I can try to maintain a consistent size on those. I think that's working out a little better. Let's see. So what do I want to ramble on about today? Maybe I'll ramble about traffic since I'm going to be driving today. Since this is my travel home day, go home. When we drove up here, when we made the trip from North Alabama to North Carolina, which is about, for those of you who aren't familiar with that, with the geography there, that is about 8 hours of driving time plus any stops. And you know, under normal conditions, under normal circumstances, it's about 8 hours of driving plus any time that you stop for meals or bathroom breaks or gas stations or whatever else. And when we were about 2/3 of the way through our trip coming up here on Monday, we ran into some road construction where Google Maps was telling me there was a 1-hour delay. So it was going to take us an extra hour. And we were just parked on the interstate. Like, we weren't moving at all. We were just parked. There was an exit where we could pull off the interstate. And it was literally like right there in front of me. And so I debated, should I stop? Should I change course? Or should I just go with it? Should I just let the traffic be traffic? And so I looked at Google Maps while I was, completely stopped on the interstate. And it gave me an alternative route that it was weird because it said, like, if you go this route, it adds 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 7 minutes or something like that to your total time. But what it didn't say is that, and I was sitting there looking at it wondering, like, does that mean it's going to add 3 or 7 or 5 or whatever minutes to my delayed time? Like, or does that mean it's going to add that much time over my original ETA? Right? Because there's the original ETA, and then there's the delayed ETA. Which one is it going to add that time to? And so I got to looking at it and just compared, since I had time sitting there while we were just completely stopped on the interstate. I had enough time to just look at it and add it up. And it turned out that the new path, the new trajectory, was like 5 minutes quicker, or five minutes longer than my current trajectory would have been if I wasn't delayed. But my current trajectory was delayed by an hour based on the road construction. So it was a no-brainer. It's like, well, I'm taking this other route. And I am so glad that we did that. Because the route that we usually take is just interstate pretty much the whole way. Or at least through Tennessee and into North Carolina, it's interstate the whole way. There's some state highway kind of roads on the Alabama stretch, but then once we get up to the Tennessee border, it's interstates the whole way. And the route that we took when we took that exit, when we had that delay and we took that exit, it was all scenic back roads, farms. We passed grape vineyards where there were people out harvesting grapes. We passed chicken farms, corn farms. Was it corn? No, I don't know. Something tall. Maybe it wasn't corn. I don't think it's the right time of year. Well, maybe it is the right time of year for that. I don't even know. But anyway, there were a bunch of. It's just a bunch of land. We drove past, we followed along a river for a huge part of that way. It was just beautiful. It was pleasant. It was way better than driving on the interstate. Now, the speeds were a little slower, and the roads were windier, and you had to pay attention to your driving more. But really, I mean, you should be paying attention if you're driving. If you're behind the wheel, you should be paying attention to your driving anyway, right? So, it's not like... And it was shady because there were a bunch of trees. I mean, it was just a beautiful drive. And I think when we go back home, I'm going to force Google Maps to find me that route again and go that way. Even if it takes a little bit longer than the normal interstate route. I had a lot of fun driving through that area, and I want a similar return drive. So I'm going to spend some time, before we hit the road, I'm going to spend some time looking up on Google Maps to see see if I can find the same route, or maybe even if it's not exactly the same route, if it's a similar path that takes us through. Going past the river so many times, that was nice. So I'd love to find that same path. Alrighty, so what I've been doing here is called stipple. Stipple is, a lot of people call it pointillism, because you're just making dots. That's a little bit of a misnomer. Pointillism is when you have dots of different colors and you let the brain of the viewer mix the colors, right? So if I wanted to have green paint, like a painted area green, then I would use dots of blue and yellow and let the viewer's eyes blend those colors to make green. This is just black dots on a white page, or white dots on a black page would be the same. This is not pointillism, it is stipple. Stipple is the word. And it's where we're using dots to create a tonal value. We're using dots not to create colors, not to mix colors in your eyes, but just to create a tonal value as if you were shading or hatching or cross-hatching. So that's called stipple. Now, I'm getting to the point where I'm not sure whether I should keep going with more stipple or not. So what I'm going to do is work on these stitches a little bit more, get the seam between the stitches in, and then work on maybe a little bit of depth with each stitch. Each stitch is going to have a little bit of a shadow, so darken up one side of it a little bit. And then also each stitch is going to have its own little texture, so I'll put some little thread lines inside there. And that's going to be I want to be super careful not to overdo that, because I don't want to make them super dark. Although that's the other thing, is value-wise, the stitches would be darker than the baseball. The baseball would be white, the stitches would be red, and it's a bright red, but it's not as bright as white. So So doing this I'm getting the value of each stitch by hatching, and those hatching lines go in the direction of the threads in order to create the texture. Although I guess maybe the threads are more woven? I don't know. At least it gets the idea of which direction the thread is going. The lines do. Now, that right there, like, look at the difference between the two, the stitches that are just an outline versus the stitches that have that hatching in it and the shadows. That makes a huge difference. So that's promising. I'm really pleased with the way that first set of stitches came out. So let's do the exact same thing over here. And I think it's especially going to stand out in an awesome way right up here in the bright area of the baseball, the area where the baseball itself is brightly lit. Yeah, so anyway, talking about driving, I have gone through stages in my life where I prefer different types of driving, you know, whether it's driving over the interstate or driving back roads or whatever. And you know, there's always a large part of me that's just like, take the fastest route. Even if it just saves 5 minutes, take the fastest route. There's definitely that part of me that has that attitude about it. But then there's also the aspect of, like, why am I in such a hurry? And you know, part of the reason why I'm in such a hurry is because I have kids at this point. And yeah, kids, you know, the older kids in the car aren't too much of a problem. I've got a 10-year-old, I've got a 6-year-old, and I've got a 2-year-old. The 10-year-old, he'd be happy to just sit on his tablet in the back seat of the car for forever, right? Like, he'd rather do that than get to the farm and go outside and play. My 6-year-old son is the opposite. He would much rather just get outside and play. And my 2-year-old girl, goodness knows, she doesn't want to be cooped up in a car. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of hatching into this in addition to the stipple. Just to kind of speed things up a little, because stipple does take a long, long time. Yeah, so my 2-year-old daughter, of course, she does not want to be cooped up in a car. There's nothing in a car for her to do. And of course, she wants to be outdoors. She wants to be participating in what other people are doing too. So it's, you know, just for her, being stuck in a car all day is really the end of the world. Okay, background, and then I'm done. Do I want to just do a black background, or do I want to do, you know what? What if I did Like, what if I did like a stadium of some kind and there's like lights? You know, like the big panel of lights shining. Do I want to go that route? Like if we're actually at a baseball stadium? I don't know. I don't know if I like that or not. I think I do. So I think I'm gonna do it. And then I'm gonna have, it's gonna be like black sky around all that. All right, here's how we're gonna do the posts. We're going to have a big glow around the baseball. Yeah, I'm liking the way this is going to turn out, I think. We'll see. We'll see when it's done. And then the panels themselves are going to be kind of gray. And the lights, you know, I should have thought about making the light shine out from them. Maybe I can do that with a white gel pen afterwards, after the fact. If nothing else, I can just cover over the whole thing black, right? If I don't like the way it turns out. Alrighty, so it's like we're at the stadium. I'm gonna go ahead and use my other pen to fill the black sky. It's gonna be like it's a nighttime ball game. I have not been to a baseball game in so long. And you know, it's funny because it's like, I've thought about this at many intervals in my life. Sports are not really my thing. Why do I like going to the ballpark? Because I like ballpark hot dogs, and ballpark nachos, and ballpark hamburgers. And, you know, like the reason you enjoy going to the ballpark is, or at least in my case, is not to watch the game. But I actually do find myself, whenever I do go to some, you know, event like that, I do find myself getting engrossed in the rules of the game and what's going on, especially if there's, you know, impressive things happening, like if there's a home run or, you know, somebody gets the bases loaded or things like that. I do find myself getting drawn in by the hyped up scenarios like that. But like if you just asked me, hey, do you want to go to the ball game? I'd be like, yeah, not really. But if I'm there at the ball game, eating the nachos, the hot dogs, drinking the Coke, I'm going to be having a good time. Right? So it's like, especially if I'm sitting there with people I enjoy, you know, people I enjoy spending time with, and we're cheering together. And so, you know, it kind of makes me wonder, it's like, do I like sports or not? Like, I don't know. And then completely separate conversation. Well, esports, right? I mentioned earlier a guy named Day9. He's an esports commentator, is what he is. He watches people play video games, and he does sports commentating for those video games. Right? That's what he does. And I watch that stuff. Like, I mean, not all the time, but I watch that stuff. So does that mean I'm just like any other guy who watches sports, like baseball, soccer, football, basketball, right? Like, it's the same. Like, what? And then it's like, why do I like going to a ball game? Because of the nachos and the hot dogs, right? Why do I like the Super Bowl? I've never watched the Super Bowl. Never in my life have I watched. I take that back. I probably did watch when I was a kid, and it was like the Cowboys versus the Redskins, because my dad was a big Redskins fan and hated the Cowboys. I remember that. I don't know if that was the Super Bowl or if it was just another game, but I'm pretty sure that was a Super Bowl at one point. But why do I watch any sports? What do I like about watching sports? It's the popcorn, the nachos, it's the junk food. That's the reason I enjoy watching sports. But then I'll watch Day9 or Husky or Loco or these other guys that are casting esports games, StarCraft games, and it's I'll sit and watch those guys for hours without even having any popcorn or nachos or anything, like just to watch them. Anyway, so yeah, it's like, which is it? Is it that I watch them because of the food, or is it because I watch them because I enjoy the game? And let's see, do I want to draw like baselines or something? I think I just barely want to get the idea that there are baselines, and maybe like a little pitcher's mound kind of thing going on. And I think I'm going to call that done. Anyway, I've rambled. I was having a conversation about driving, and then it turned into a conversation about sports because my picture is a baseball field. So, yeah, it's time for me to go look up Google Maps directions so I can get home in a pleasant manner. I really like the way that turned out. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see what I've got coming for the rest of the month. And there is Inktober Day 9 Throw. See you tomorrow.